Okay, homework 3, number 2. So here's what we want to do. We're going to build a model that takes into account a whole bunch of songs. These songs were recorded by these singers. They were played on these dates, and the song length is X number of minutes. Okay, so we want to extract some information about these. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do again is define our different columns. These might already be defined on your homework. I don't know if they are. If we go to name manager, we can see that we have dates, which is just our date column here. We've got minutes, which is our minute column here. We've got singers, and we've got song table, which is actually the entire table. So I think if I select this, yeah. So this is D through G all the way down to the bottom. Okay. And you'll see here we got work weekdays. I'm going to take that one off because we're going to redo that one. So here it gives you some hints. The first two, you don't need to add anything, like you don't need to add any extra columns or anything like that to figure anything out. We can do this without having to, with just the information we have. And what we're going to use is count if, which is just a special kind of if statement. Now we're actually going to use, because we have two things we're counting. We're counting not by Spears and we're counting not by Madonna. So those are two different things. So we want count ifs, plural, with an S. So that's the way you tell the difference. If you're only counting one type of thing, like we're counting the songs on Tuesdays, that's only counting one thing. So we can just count if. If we need to count two things, or if we need to count things like a particular item that is defined by more than one characteristic, you're going to use ifs with an S. So here we're going to count ifs, number of cells, given set of conditions. Okay, if we just do if, it's just given condition. So either one condition or multiple conditions. We want multiple conditions. So I want to count ifs. Now I want to give it a range. So we have criteria range and then criteria. So my range here, and we named them, is going to be the singer column because I'm going to search that column. So the column is going to be singer. That's my range. You can see here the first problem that I have, and I've told you this, guys, before. This is going to mess up and not work correctly because I have included the label. I've included the label when I defined this. So later when I do all of these things, that is absolutely going to mess up what I'm doing. Is it going to mess up the number of songs? No, because singer doesn't match any of the other ones. Is it going to match, is it going to mess up the singer names containing the letter M? No, it won't, not for the letter M. It might mess it up if it was singers that with the letter S, as in Sam. That might mess it up, for, how many times, something was played. Yeah, probably not, but it almost certainly will mess up my column. So I want to go to my name manager again, and I want to fix that. Because, and you can see that I've done it on just singer. All of my other ones start at 16, which is where they should start. Singer is the only one that's wrong. It starts on 15. I'm going to edit it to be 16. Okay. So I'm going to close that. And now when I do count ifs, singers, now it's only selecting the data and not the label. Please, 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 especially on the midterm, make sure you don't select the label. Now, what am I going to look for? I need to look for songs that are not by Spears or Madonna. So I want not. So when I do that, I'm going to comma. My criteria is going to be, so you put your criteria, because we're looking for names, you want to put it in between quotation marks. Use quotation marks anytime that it's not going to be just exactly what you want. Like, for example, if I was looking for the number 5, then exactly the number 5, then I could just put the number 5. I don't necessarily have to put it within quotation marks. but generally you're gonna use quotation marks, so just use them. You know, it won't make your, it won't make it wrong if you use quotation marks when you didn't need them, but it will make it wrong if you didn't use quotation marks when you did need them. So just use quotation marks, okay? And then one thing, this this symbol basically means not. Okay, so if you put that, that's going to mean not, and we're going to go not spheres. Okay, and then we want second criteria. We want to search the same table again, singers, for not Madonna. The two N's, right? Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to close it. Count it if it's not spheres and if it's not Madonna. So basically, it's going to give me everybody in singers in that column that's not spheres and Madonna. Now, I just realized that that's why accidentally adding the label would have messed me up. If I had added this label as one of the cells to be counted, I would have 690 and my answer would be wrong because it would have counted singer as a piece of the data. Okay, so do not add the label or your count will be one number off. Okay, so double check that if you're getting like your answers are one number off from mine. Make sure you did not include the labels in your ranges. Okay, just don't do it. Now this time we want songs between 5 and 6 minutes. Okay, so we're going to do this again. Now, I found when I did this it to be ambiguous because to me, songs between 5 and 6 minutes does not include songs that are exactly 5 minutes or songs that are exactly 6 minutes. However, you should consider this to be songs that are from 5 minutes to 6 minutes, which means less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Okay. Just bear that in mind if this is on the test. So we're going to equal our count ifs. Now we want to count the minutes column because we're going to count how many of them are between 5 and 6 minutes. Okay. So we want to, that's going to be our, I think I named it minutes column. It's right there. Okay. And our criteria, our first criteria is going to be if it's greater than or equal to 5. And our second criteria for minutes, make sure you actually select the range and you don't accidentally pick a formula because minute is used a lot. And our second range is going to be less than or equal to 6. Oops. Equal to 6. Okay. I personally had an issue with this one because I don't, why are you doing that? There we go. Because for me, between 5 and 6 means not including 5 and 6, and apparently he means for you to include 5 and 6. So if he decides that you didn't get it because you didn't include 5 and 6, I would argue because he says between, not including. But I digress. Okay, so now we've got 374 songs are between 5 and 6 minutes long. Now, considering these are all whole minutes, if you actually put exactly 5, you know, which ones are greater than 5, less than 6, you'll actually get 0, which is probably why he does it that way. Like if I did this, where it's between 5 and 6 minutes, so it's greater than 5 and less than 6, I get 0 because these are whole numbers. If they weren't whole numbers, you might actually get something, but since these are whole numbers, it's only going to work if you put less than or equal to, because otherwise it won't count anything. Okay, here's the hard one. Count just the ones that were played on Tuesdays. How do we know if it's played on a Tuesday? How do I know if this is a Tuesday? I don't freaking know. I'm gonna have to look at a calendar. Nope. Excel will look that up for us. So we're gonna have weekday, and we're going to use, shocker, the weekday function. Shocking, I know. So we're going to use the weekday function, which is going to turn our date into a number the weekday, and I want it to check this day here. Okay. And I want it to use our I want Monday to be number 1 and I want Sunday to be number 7, just because that's what we consider to be, you know, a weekday. Is we consider it to be, you know, like Monday is the first day. You can actually, as long as you keep in mind which day that you made the beginning of the week, you'll be fine. You could actually use any of these. Just make sure that you know which day you started the week on. Okay. So we are going from Monday is 1 and Sunday is 7. What did I do? Oh, I forgot to actually tell it. Don't mind me. Okay, so now we know this is a 4. That makes this a Thursday. Okay. Then we're just gonna control, is it control click? There we go. I control click. It is now populated this entire thing, and you can see it's 1 through 7. So now all of these dates have been converted to a particular day of the week. Now, if Monday is the first day of the week, oh, and also we're gonna control shift down to select this entire column. And then we're gonna name it weekdays. So now we have a range of weekdays. Now we can count how many songs are on Tuesday. What day of the week is Tuesday? Tuesday is the second day of the week. So we are going to equal, so we're going to equal count if. We only have one criteria, so we only need to do one. We're going to count if our weekdays range equals 2, which is Tuesday. There's 143 Tuesdays. Okay. The next ones are basically, you're going to do the same thing that you did before. Is just, so now we're going to count if, I want to count if the singer names contain the letter M. So we're going to count if singers. And how do I tell it if it contains an M anywhere in it? I need to use a wildcard. So again, I'm going to use my quotation marks. My wildcard is asterisk, asterisk before and after. If you only put an asterisk at the beginning, it will only tell you if, so if you only have asterisk, oops. So those are all the ones that have an M. You can see it's a subset because really just Cher and Spears are the only ones that don't have an M. Everybody else has an M. Okay, so if I only put an M at the beginning for my wildcard, it's only going to count people that have an M at the end. So if I hit this, look how low it is now. Instead of 609, I'm only got 114 because it's only going to count Eminem at that point because he's the only one that has an M at the end of his name. Other people's have M in the beginning, or actually all of them have M at the beginning. So if I sit here and I put the asterisk after the M, see, I'm only going to get 493 because now it will not count Eminem because he doesn't, his name does not start with an M. So by putting a wildcard on both sides of the M, it means that the M can come at any point in the name rather than absolutely at the beginning or absolutely at the end. We hit enter, and 607 songs had a singer whose name contained the letter M. Okay, how many times was Spears played in August 2017? So we are going to count ifs. Our singer was Spears. Okay. We're also going to count if our date was after, like on or after August 1st, and before or on August 31st. So we have to do this separately. So you have to do our date was greater than or equal to, oops, greater than or equal to 8/1/2017. And we also have to do if our dates were less than or equal to 8/31/2017. Okay, we're going to double check, make sure we put in all of our quotation marks. Yes, we want greater than August 1st, less than August 31st. So that's going to give me every instance of spears during that month. I got 0. Is that what I wanted? Did I want 0? Let me just check and make sure that I did this correctly. It's more than likely correct because I got to tell you, see how it says August 2017? If I scroll down, you know what I don't see anywhere in here? 2017, anywhere. So if you get a 0, don't be shocked. It just doesn't start at 2017. So we absolutely expect to get a 0 here. Now he might change these and this still has to work. Okay. So that's why we go through all of that, so that if this data changes and he moves it back and now all of a sudden our data is from 2015 to 2018 instead of from 2018 to 2020, I still want it to show. Okay, now how many times was more played between February and August? So again, use the first day of February and the last day of August. Be inclusive, because I personally, when I did this, was like, oh, between February and August means not including February and August. Yes, it includes February and August. So first day of this, what he's actually asking is from the first day of February to the last day of August. Please remember this for the tests. If he says between 2 months, he means including those 2 months. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna count ifs, plural. Our singer is more. And we're also gonna count if the date, oops, dates is greater than or equal to February 1st, 2018. And the dates is less than or equal to 8/31/2019. Make sure everybody has quotation marks, quotation marks, quotation marks. Double check and make sure you get your greater than or equal to correct. So it has to be greater than the first date and less than the second date. Okay, make sure you get those correct. And then we're gonna hit enter. 127. So I have 127 of these, and that is it. Okay, so make sure that you don't accidentally include labels. Make sure that you have your less than or equal to's correct and facing the correct direction. Make sure that if you're putting in a wild card, bear in mind that any side of your character that doesn't have a wild card is static. So if you have a wild card at the beginning, that means that letter must be the very last letter. If you have a wild card after it, but not before it, it means that character must be the very first letter. Okay, so make sure you wild card both sides if that's what you want. Okay, and I hope this helps.